Well, happy Wind Down Wednesday, Janet.
Happy Wednesday.
And happy Wind Down Wednesday, Maddie, behind the camera. Cheers. Thanks for
Cheers.
joining us. We are, first, what are we drinking, Janet?
I'm going to totally botch this because I know nothing, no French words really, except for we are drinking this beautiful bottle of wine. It's a 2022 Sancerre, I think is the way you say it. It's by Henri Bourgeois. This family, it's from France. It's from the Sauvignon Blanc grape, which is probably why we like it.
Yes.
But you can tell it's not so in your face. It's a little bit more smooth, a little bit more refined. And this family has been producing this type of wine for over 10 generations, which I think is really cool. And Maddie and I were looking at some of the different flavors trying to guess. So we picked up on, after we read, we were like, okay, lime, yes. Apples.
Apples, yes.
And then the other thing that we had to look up was gunflint aromas. And what we found out is it's exactly what you would think. The flint that is given off that smell from firing a gun, that's what it's from. And that is
like
very
a
typical.
Taste?
Yes, it's a mineral taste. And you see it a lot in wines that are where the grapes are grown in regions where there's a lot of limestone in the soil, which there is. This particular winery, I'm having problems talking today, is about 2-hour drive from Paris. Beautiful part of the country there, and I like this.
It is really good. It's really crisp.
I like crisp, light, smooth. It goes great with things like shellfish, with goat cheese, with, I think of like a lot of little noshes.
I have a friend who's French who introduced me to a Sancerre, and that's why I mentioned that to you. Well, let's get a bottle of that.
Yeah, this is really nice. And it has lovely floral and peach aromatic appeal
if you say so. I just like it. It tastes good.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers. So try a Sancerre, especially if you like Sauvignon Blanc. It's not quite as like, I don't know if tart is the right word.
Like a little lighter.
It's a lighter version, right?
What do you think, Maddie?
I love it.
Good.
It's a good summer wine.
Delish. Good pool pounder.
And it's a nice before dinner wine. Oh yeah, I could see this floating in a pool.
Yes.
Good music, good wine.
Could be dangerous.
How do we segue over?
Well, so we don't have. Well, there is a special, I think, today for Mother's Day. We've got Mother's Day coming up.
Right, but this is going to air after Mother's Day.
No. Well, too bad. Hopefully you guys got in on some of those Mother's Day specials that Allergan was running, because they had some gift card deals and things like that. If you didn't, just watch out for that. If you don't already belong to their Ally program, not a bad idea to sign up for that, because they run specials periodically where they'll do, I think it was like on Botox Day, they do like a buy 50 or $100 gift card and get another one for free. And that's what they were doing for Mother's Day too.
Very generous offerings that they put out there. And
that's something to think about. And I think some of the other manufacturers run specials too. So there's, for Galderma, their Aspire program is something you might want to look into as well.
For sure.
Because sometimes they will run specials.
And just in case you're wondering, these are consumer-driven programs. They're put out there by the manufacturer. They reward you for using their product. Whether you're a Botox user or a Dysport user, or you like Juvederm products or Restylane products, we participate in these programs. It costs you nothing to join them, but they allow you to accumulate points like airline miles, and you turn those into coupons, like I want to use $25 or $75 or $100, and we take that right off the top of your bill. So
and Jeuveau, which is one of the neuromodulators we like to use, they have a program where every 3 months you can get a $40 off coupon, which is great. I think take advantage of all of those things. The other thing to remind everybody about is our new Club Paradise program, which is a great way for you to save money towards your services that you want to have for yourself. It's $200 a month that you put into your beauty bank, and that earns you club membership. And you will get $1 off of each unit of Tox, $50 off of each unit or each syringe of dermal filler, and $50 off of all of our aesthetic laser type treatments with Christine. Do we also do they get any
10% off retail?
Yeah, I was going to say,
do
they get any discount on retail? And I thought so. So 10%, you save 10% on all of our retail products as well, which is great.
Right.
And a reason for you to come and get your skincare from us as opposed to ordering online, because we can make sure that you get that deal. And also that your products are coming from a reputable source and aren't sitting at your doorstep cooking over the summer.
Oh, I know. It's heating up out there, right?
Anyway, so those are things to think about, but we definitely encourage you to join the membership. It's essentially free because that $200 a month investment that you're doing is for you to spend. Right. So we don't take that. That just sits in your bank for you to spend towards future treatments. If you have questions about that, give us a call.
And
what else?
And I think that's an easy one, because if you look at how much money you spend on getting your Botox or Dysport or Jeuveau throughout the year, you're doing it 3 times a year, maybe 4 times a year. You're getting a little bit of filler here and there. If you spend $2,400 a year, which most people do, it's like your own little secret stash, if you will.
Savings. Instead of pulling money out in cash when you go to the grocery store, which is a nice way to hide money from your husband. That's what people do. They just like, do you want cash back? Yes, I do. And they come in with their wads of cash. You don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
We can put that money aside for you. Is the wellness team offering any specials this month?
20% off her tea.
Oh, 20% off her tea, one of the supplements. That has become very popular. More and more, I see more and more people buying that.
I probably need that. Is that to increase testosterone for women?
Yes.
Just based on the name? I will be buying that. That's great. That probably helps boost libido and energy and other things, muscle mass and just general well-being.
I know, because we lose muscle mass as we age, and amongst other things.
Well, I think the last time I checked my testosterone, it was like negative. I was like, you don't have any. Maybe I should take some of that.
I would make Greg happy.
Yep, it would. He probably wants me to get the pellet.
Right.
Yes.
And take her tea.
And take her tea and other things.
And a booster.
So if you're in the same boat as me, consider her tea. Well, for today's topic, I thought we would talk about some buzzy things. And it's not that we haven't spoken about these things before, but I just thought to kind of put it together because there is a lot of chatter online about the salmon DNA, salmon sperm facials and things like that, that I thought I would talk a little bit about what that is exactly and some of the things that we are doing in the office that are regenerative. Really, there's this focus now on regenerative treatments. So not just using devices and stuff to help stimulate collagen, but also help kind of reverse some of that aging, and turn on some cellular functions that get turned off with age using some of this new technology.
And when we use these things too, it can give these treatments a boost.
Sure.
We use a lot of these things when we're doing perhaps dermal filler, or maybe when we're doing an Ellacor microcoring treatment, or CO2, or microneedling, or microneedling.
A lot of people are using it with microneedling. Well, microneedling is obviously a very popular treatment. And there are a lot of offices, because estheticians can do that in their practices, that are using these things in conjunction with microneedling. But I think that there's a couple things to think about. One is kind of where you're getting these products, and you want to make sure that you're using high quality products, and we'll talk about the different types. But you don't want to jump on every fad that you see on TikTok and online, because that's not really a safe way of treating yourself, and you don't know where these things are coming from. Same thing that we were talking about with the retail products, right? You want to make sure that you're getting these things from reputable sources, because they actually can help. They can dictate cellular function, and you want the cellular function to be anti-inflammatory and rejuvenative, right? You don't want it to be. You don't want the message that you're giving the cells to be maybe overproducing cells.
That you don't want to be overproducing. You don't want
bad cells, right? Because that can potentially cause, say you had a cancer cell.
Right.
You don't want that cell being fed by these things. There's just things to think about. and also sort of understanding what's FDA approved, what isn't FDA approved, what things are considered, maybe even if they're not FDA approved, what things are considered safe for injection versus topical use. I thought we would go through that today. It's a lot of science, and I'll try to, I don't want to say dumb it down, but I'm going to dumb it down for myself too. It's just easier to talk like that, and then for our audience so that everybody gets the gist. I'll start off with the whole salmon sperm thing. What is that? What that is PDRN, which I had to write it down for myself because I always forget what it stands for. PDRN stands for polydeoxyribonucleotides. And see, now you understand why.
Say that 10 times.
Why I can never remember exactly what that acronym stands for. I just call them like polynucleotides, and I think a lot of us just use that terminology. And these are little mixtures of DNA fragments that are used in signaling for tissue regeneration, for healing, for wound healing. They also seem to decrease melanocyte production, so helps for hyperpigmentation. And most of these, all my little notes, most of these are approved currently for topical use and are being used either they come in sheet masks or serums, mostly out of South Korea. And they do come in what would look like an injectable form, which is probably how they're using it in other countries. Mm-hmm. They almost come in a syringe, but they are not approved for injectable use in the United States, much like exosomes, which is something else we will talk about as well. So these are, again, little fragments of DNA particles that are important in wound healing, and they are derived. The best source of these polynucleotides comes from salmon sperm, so salmon DNA, and it is sort of biosimilar to that of humans. You can also get them from plants, but I think that the one from salmon, the salmon DNA, tends to be more potent and can show and has better. So I think the results with these things are actually really great. If you and there's a lot of science behind it. So, I haven't brought it into our practice yet. There are other things that we are doing that we'll talk about, but I'm considering it, and I'm sort of watching the science and kind of waiting for it to get to prime time. I think we've talked about that before. It's like not quite ready for prime time, but it's really promising. So stay tuned on that. There are other offices that offer that, and they're seeing great results with topical use. So that's PDRN. The other thing that's sort of buzzy is exosomes. So exosomes in and of themselves don't do anything. So exosomes are actually the carrier of a message. So it's like the bag around which the product is carried, right? So I always think of it like the little bubble on a cartoon, like what the person says. It's just the bubble, right? So that's what these are, little vesicles that are released from cells, mostly from stem cells. Mostly from stem cells that carry a message. And that message varies depending on the source, what cellular source these messages are coming from, right? Like my bubble is in English. Someone else's bubble could be in Spanish. It could have a different message, right? Like I'm saying one thing, somebody else saying something else. So you have, in order to understand exosomes and to hopefully harness positive messages, right? We don't want bad things being spread. We want good things being spread. So you want to use cellular sources, such as like the plated product that we use, which is a platelet-derived exosomes, because we know those are important. Plates are important in healing. Other exosome sources are mesenchymal stem cells, like adipose-derived stem cells. So the fat tissue releases a lot of these exosomes. There are umbilical sources, like fetal sources of exosomes. Again, when you think of fetuses, there's a lot of regenerative messages being sent, and then I'm going to get to one other thing, which is really interesting, kind of on the horizon with regards to fetal cells. But in the womb, if a fetus were to get injured, they never scar.
Right.
There's no scar. they have some messages that aren't, that adult and fully formed humans that we don't have after birth. So it's really interesting that, if God forbid a mother, or, an expectant mother were in an accident or something, and there was an injury to a fetus, they do not scar. So they have like regenerative abilities to like regrow things that we don't. Yeah, it's really interesting. So anyway, so those are some, potentially good sources of exosome, so of those messages. And within those little vesicles are growth factors and other proteins and things like that, including some of these polynucleotides. Those are sometimes housed in these exosomes, as well as growth factors and things like that. So that's exosomes. We, in our practice, when we do microneedling, RF microneedling, the Allicor, the CO2, we are using plated exosomes. Yeah. Plated exosomes, the source of those exosomes comes from platelets. And we know that platelets, again, are highly active in the healing process. So they help with wound healing, improving the speed of healing, the efficacy of healing. So they're great to use after some of these procedures.
Yeah, because you have all these little holes in your skin.
Yep.
That they can, when applied immediately afterwards, it's kind of a pathway.
And I really like the company, the plated company. There's a lot of science behind their products, and they also are very careful about resourcing their cellular source. So when you think about it, you've got these cells, they're producing these exosomes, and as cells age, they produce less exosomes. That's why I say their cellular messages get turned off with aging cells. They make sure to replenish their source on a regular basis to make sure that they're actually producing the same number and quality of exosomes. So you don't want empty messages floating around either. So they're very, focused on the quality of their product. And there are some other reputable companies out there as well. Antiage makes some great products. Their exosomes come from umbilical source and adipose tissue. I think it's a combination. And then the Benev exosomes, those come from the adipose-derived stem cells. So again, just kind of knowing the source and where you're getting and kind of what that message that's going to be that we're trying to deliver. So that's exosomes. There's also something that's on the horizon that's called secretomes. Secretome refers to all of the proteins that a cell produces. So everything, all the growth factors and all of those things. Again, could also include some of these polynucleotides and other things as well. But that's really interesting. And there is a company that, I don't think their product is available yet, but they have found the like secret sauce, the magic protein that fetuses have that full-grown adults and humans don't have. So that helps for that regenerative
It's like the
property.
most potent.
Yes.
Right? The most potent and all-encompassing.
Yes. So that's something that is, I think, really interesting and something to watch. And then there's eriescence. So eriescence is really interesting as well. So eriescence is pure platelet-derived growth factor. So for many years, we have been using platelet-rich plasma or platelet-rich fibrin matrix, which is when we draw your blood and we spin it down. You may have had that done at our practice. And then we are concentrating the platelets and re-injecting them. I think that we have moved beyond that at this point. And we started doing that back in like 2009 or 10, really early on. And I think it was good, but there are other things that are better now. And the reason being is that your PRP is only as good as you are, right? On the day you get your blood draw. And the older we get, the less potent and less, the fewer amount of growth factors that we're actually going to be able to harness from that sample. And there's also lots of other variables, like how much did you drink that day? How good was the blood draw? What's your platelet count? we're not even checking people's platelet counts before we do this. Like, you need platelets in order to have platelet-rich plasma. So I just think there's too many variables, and it made the results vary from treatment to treatment and patient to patient. So there wasn't consistency.
Right.
And that's something that we saw because we were using that for hair growth.
Right.
And some people would respond great, and some people not so much. And I'm sure it had a lot to do with the health of the patient.
Sure.
So anyway, we've kind of moved beyond that because you can now create recombinant platelet-derived growth factor, which is the growth factor we're trying to get out of PRP and PRF. It's the most important growth factor. There are other growth factors that we get from blood, but PDGF is the most important and is highly involved in healing and has anti-inflammatory properties and other things. So the way the Ariessence company, again, it's like a tech company. They have uses in orthopedics and dental as well. So where they're using it for bone grafting to, again, stimulate healing and bone regeneration for implant sites, for example, in dentistry. But they have been able to create this PDGF plus, which is they harvested, they used platelet cells, obviously, and then they cleaved the DNA and figured out what the recipe was on the DNA to make this growth factor. And now they are making it, it's actually yeast. They have yeast cultures, so almost like brewing beer. And then they're able to purify that. And so there's no human tissue at all in this. The yeast cells they're like little factories, yeast. And it's like almost like a fermentation process or something. And then they're able to collect this PDGF, purify it, and we can re-inject it. So this Ariessence, every syringe of Ariessence has 1,000 times the amount of platelet-derived growth factor that's normally found in PRP. So it's highly concentrated. A lot more of that message is going out.
Yeah, very consistent.
Very consistent. And we've seen really great results with it. So as far as what I'm injecting in my practice, the only regenerative injectable that I am injecting is Ariessence. And I'm willing to say that on record, even though Ariessence technically is only FDA approved for topical use, this exact same product, the PDGF plus, the exact same thing, is FDA approved. It has 4 other FDA approvals in the United States for injectable use. So I feel confident and comfortable injecting it. And I will mix it with fillers. I will mix it with other regenerative treatments like Sculptra, for example, or Renuva, things like that. I'm sort of adding fertilizer to those treatments to improve the results. So I feel comfortable injecting that, but I do let patients know that it's a technically off-label use of that product, but they can feel confident that there are 4 other FDA approvals in the United States for that. So anyway, we've moved away from PRP, PRF. So if you come to our office, you won't need that blood draw anymore, which is great.
Yay.
This is shelf stable, no pokes. It's fabulous, and it's very efficacious. I will inject this. There is no FDA approved exosome product in the United States for injection. There is no FDA approved salmon sperm product in the United States. I just don't feel comfortable until I have some backing from either the industry or the FDA to be injecting those things. So there are other providers that feel comfortable doing so. I'm just not one of them yet. For now, in our practice, exosomes, if we ever do bring in PDRN, that's going to be topical use only. And then who knows, maybe the secretome thing, there's something to that.
Right.
So stay tuned. But there's lots of science happening in the world of aesthetics, specifically regenerative aesthetics. And I think as patients kind of move a little bit away, I don't want to say completely from dermal fillers, just straight up dermal fillers. I think we're looking for things that are going to give us a natural look and and ways to regenerate tissue, not just rejuvenate tissue.
Yeah, because too, with regenerative, I mean, while we're going to age, if it's working with your body,
Yes.
right, it's longer lasting,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if we're injecting something that's more temporary, the body's just going to metabolize it and, it's just going to wear off. And then we need to do it again and again.
And I think of it like you don't want to just look like a younger person. You want to act like a younger person, right? Like you want your cells to behave. And if they are misbehaving, then you're just going to keep aging. So if we can do some corrective treatments,
yeah, kind of improve that, slow down that aging process,
yes,
right?
Improve function.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just form, but function. So yeah, it's a lot of words and it's a lot of information. But I would just say, do a little bit of research. Don't jump on every trend that you see. Kind of make sure that what you're doing is safe, and talk to your providers about that. And obviously making sure that you're going to a provider that you trust, who has your best interest in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, we've got some new stuff coming up.
Yes, we do.
So just a little teaser here. Coming very soon, Paradise Med Spa will be offering Face Reality here. So for our acne sufferers, regardless of whether you're a teen, whether you're, older and still, suffering from acne, Face Reality is a company that we've decided to partner with, and we'll be doing treatments in the office. We have home care. And so we're really excited to be able to offer it to our patients here.
Yes.
So stay tuned because more will be coming soon on that.
Yep.
And then
check out their website.
Yeah, Face Reality.
Yep. It's a great company.
And then next month, we will have our wellness team. Dr. Sharn and the wellness team will be hosting Wind Down Wednesday for the month of June. So stay tuned for that.
Excellent.
And I don't know, we have Mother's Day coming up. We have summer coming up.
Hopefully, if this is airing after Mother's Day, then I hope you all had a fabulous Mother's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we've got summer. It's like graduation time, and then summer is going to be here, and then like the year's half over already.
I know, it's crazy.
I know.
How did we get here already?
So I guess I won't be back on Wind Down Wednesday then again until July.
July. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Independence Day time.
And
okay.
I have a feeling that's probably when we'll be sharing more about Face Reality.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm really excited about bringing them on. So,
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, comment in the comment section. We'd be happy to answer those questions as they come in. Obviously, today wasn't a live session, but we are standing by to answer any questions. And then feel free to give us a call at 602-266-8144. And you can check us out on the web at paradisemedspa.com.
Where you can also stock up on your skincare products for the summer. If you can't make it into the office to get yourself ready for the summer so that you have your tinted mineral sunscreen, so that you have plenty of your, restorative medical grade skincare items, you can shop from our website, paradisemedspa.com, and have those products sent right to your home. But if you do that, please just make sure that you're home to receive those packages because it's warming up quickly.
Yes, it is.
So
I always worry about that. But we are here. If you just want to swing in, you don't have to have an appointment. You just swing in and grab your products.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks
Wonderful.
for joining us.
Cheers.
Cheers.